I often think like maybe the busy quality of my artwork is because I moved around a lot. You know, I wanted to explore a lot of cultures and experience a lot of different things. And likewise with my artwork, I try a lot of different media, I try a lot of different materials, and I try a lot of different styles because I'm just curious. That's a quality of mine that I think drives a lot of what I've done in my life and a lot of like different risks I've taken and things I've explored. For my first woodcut, I, thought about kind of combining some animal imagery with some like old traditional icon imagery. So I collaged those together, those images together on my iPad and created this baboon skull trinity. So there's 3 baboon skulls and it has sort of the body of a saint. And then in the background, I put these images of baboon life. And so in my mind, it's like commenting on like animal consciousness and animal life. Initially, the idea isn't fully formed, but by the end of it, I think, oh, this is completely speaking to my interest in animal consciousness, speaking to my interest in evolution of spiritual ideas. And that's what inspires the next piece and the next piece. So when I first created the Baboon Trinity, I loved it and I thought it did a lot of things that I wanted my artwork to do. And so I decided to kind of like create a series where I pursue this juxtaposition of different traditional religious imagery with animals, with patterning from different places. Religious imagery is interesting to me because it's like points to this sort of very old, very deeply human interest in the mysteries of life. People have different kind of relationships to the idea of religion. It's sort of like a natural human thing to explore where we came from and why things are the way they are. So it's very universally recognized and understood, I think, maybe not universally understood, but universally recognized meaning within the imagery, I think. Like, I like the idea of people using different like methods for getting their parents off their backs. So Christ is gifting his mother a chihuahua to kind of like distract her, give her something else to pour her love out onto so that she will leave him alone. I made him look really tired. He's got bags under his eyes. I think of it as like a picture of people putting up boundaries and, trying to like lovingly ask for people to give them space and respect their time. I don't know if that's communicated very well. Most people just like it because she has a chihuahua and it's an interesting composition. I also love Albrechter, the German woodcutting master. He has this series of images of the apocalypse that are just pieces of stories of the book of Revelation in the Bible. One of the most famous ones is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They're coming out of the sky and, the earth is small and there's spears and there's like one of them is a skeleton and it's just terrifying. But it's also very like complex and very intricate. And I think that is what appeals to the viewer. It's what appeals to me. This is my attempt at that, the fact that they're like very complicated and that they're playing with kind of old traditional imagery and new imagery is sort of like trying to kind of copy a master in a way, but make it my own. Also, this need to make things that I don't see in the world that I want to see. I've never seen weird mashup religious animal woodcuts, but I want them to exist. And if I feel like I have the power to put this weird stuff in the world that kind of has a connection to my worldview and my experiences, that's all I want to do.
Do you feel like that's something that, as an artist, like you have like an obligation to have your art say certain things? Or do you feel like you just want to tell your story and that's all?
That's a really good question. I think about that a lot. I would like to be more message oriented. Like, I absolutely have opinions about what's going on in the world, but I feel like I spend a lot of time worrying about compositions, and I think like the automatic thing that I think would like visually represent what I think of a certain political issue tends to be pretty straightforward and kind of dumb. Yeah, I want more message in my work. I think right now I'm just exploring kind of like my aesthetic identity and trying to like become proficient at that. I do worry about, like we were talking about with the woodcuts, I don't want to make commentary about specific religious beliefs, and I do worry that these woodcuts kind of like say that to a lot of people that look at them. It's more like exploratory and curious and like putting animals in the conversation. That's what I want, but I feel like that's kind of nuanced. And a lot of people are just going to look at an image, and unless they jibe with it, they're not going to read about it. And so like the only chance I have is to like get people to like the composition itself in that first view. Anyway, yeah. You can see like what the content people choose says about them. It sometimes makes me freeze up. Like I can be a little bit shy about posting things on Instagram, or I'll be afraid to kind of like venture into different content. The vulnerability of putting images out into the world that directly point to your identity and your thoughts, it feels risky. I'm putting all of these things under my name and who I am, and if there's disagreement or if there's conflict or if I change my mind, it just feels like everything that I'm putting into the world could come back and say things about my identity that I don't want. But I think as an artist, you're not just an artist, you're also saying something about the world.